Hi, this is Joe again with another review. This time I'm going to be doing, like I said, I was doing the Star Trek movie series, and I already did, or just did Star Trek 1, the motion picture. Now I'm going to be doing what I consider to be one of the best, not the best movie in the entire Star Trek movie series, called Star Trek 2: The Wrath of Khan. Now those of you who don't know the premise of it, it was based on the episode titled Spacey. I actually have the actual video of Spacey, and this is the episode they introduced the world to Khan. So I had to do that. This is, of course, the one thing I got a kick out was that it has the first line in the description of the video called "Meet the original." I don't know if you were able to read that. It says "Meet the original Khan." Well, before the movie came out this year, Star Trek Into Darkness, Nicola Montalban was the only actor to play Khan, and he played the part in the episode and in the movie, in Star Trek 2 movie. Of course, Nicola Montalban is only famous for being in Fantasy Island. So the reason why Star Trek 2 is based on this particular episode because Harve Bennett was hired as one of the producers of the movie. So, excuse me, was not all that familiar with Star Trek. So he decided to watch all of the episodes, and when he came to Spacey, this would be a good movie to do a sequel. And for those of you who are curious, who have never seen the episode, and why they keep saying the 15 years in the movie, is because the movie came out in 1982, or June of 82. And this particular episode aired in February 1967. So like 15-year difference between when this episode originally aired and the movie. So that's why you had the 15-year references to it. Well, the movie itself starts off with a training mission, or training exercise, with Kirstie Alley, who was the very first professional acting role. So this was the first time you ever seen her act anywhere, and that's when she was, a knockout. And that's before she became known as Fat Actress. Playing Lieutenant Saavik, who was another Vulcan on the ship, going on the Kobayashi Maru, which is one of the running gags through this movie. And of course I'm not going to say what happens in the training exercise, but she always wanted to know how Captain Kirk is now an admiral, wanted to know how he did on the test, and he never tells her until later on in the film. Well, how Khan came out was that he was left on a planet at the end of this episode. Khan and his people were left in exile on Ceti Alpha 5, and it was came up by Kirk so that Khan could have a planet to rule. And so, of course, 15 years later, Kirk never really checked out how his progress and stuff was going on. If he did, maybe you want to have the whole thing that happens in this film. But what happened was that Chekhov, of course, Pavel Chekhov from the original series, and of course this is the one thing that's not nitpick on, was that Chekhov was never in the original episode, and neither was Sulu. The only people from the original cast, and we all know, was Kirk, Spock, McCoy, and Scotty from the cast. And the original Star Trek cast knew about Khan. No one else. Sulu, Chekhov, and of course the newest Chaplin knew about Khan, but Sulu and Chekhov didn't. So Chekhov was on another ship called the Reliant to go down to the Ceti Alpha 5 system. And the Ceti Alpha system on another planet. They think they were on Ceti Alpha 6. It was actually Ceti Alpha 5. And of course that's where they found Khan. And of course Chekhov and Captain, played by Paul Winfield, what was great in this movie. They were interrogating them, putting these bugs in their ears, and they were interrogating them, saying, "How come you're here?" And of course, Khan and his people took over the Reliant, and they went after Kirk, and they went after the thing called the Genesis device, which is a three-part or 3-episode story arc, a 3-movie arc. It went over 3 movies, or the next 2 films, and it was when they made a planet, or a dead planet, or a moon, into a living, breathing planet. So of course, if Khan has this, he could destroy planets where life already existed, which was explained. So now they figure out, hey, if we keep on, if the thing gets into the wrong hands, it can be made to a weapon, and that's when Khan comes in. Excuse me. And then when they talked about what the Genesis device is about, that's when the Enterprise confronts the Reliant, and the Reliant, of course, fires on them. And of course, you find out later on that the person who was the head who created the Genesis device was Kirk's old girlfriend, Dr. Carol Marcus, along with her son, David, which of course turns out to be Kirk's illegitimate son. Spoiler. And of course, they wanted to know who is Khan. And of course, they don't really tell him in the movie who is Khan and why he's doing all this stuff. And then eventually go back on the Enterprise. But before then, you find out what Kirk did on the Kobayashi Maru, because he was the only one that passed it. Everyone else bombs out on the Kobayashi Maru test, except for Kirk. He's the only one who beat it. And he tells why he beat it. Because he reprogrammed the simulation so it was possible to rescue the ship. And Christiana goes at what? He says he cheated. They used my intuition. I reprogrammed it. Because I hate to lose. Because he doesn't believe in the no-win scenario. And of course, they go back on the Enterprise and they challenge Khan to a rematch. And that's when you had the whole last, I don't know, like 10 minutes or so, 10 15 minutes in this nebula, and the 2 ships going at it, which was pretty cool, because it's cool that we made a slow paced battle like that. And of course, I know I'm going to give something away, but Spock does die at the end of the film, which originally the story plot leaked out. It said, the Spock was going to die in the end, and that's because Paramount's denying it. No, he just dies in the beginning. It was a fake death in the beginning, and that's it. Well, Spock dies at the end of the film. Of course, and Khan also dies, along with all of his people, all of his fellow genetically engineered people from the 1990s. Who all died in this thing as well. And of course, you wondering what happened to Marla McGivers, who was in this episode, who fell in love with Khan. She died before her character died before the movie. The reality is that she had MS, or multiple sclerosis. She did die a few years, about like 15 years ago or something. In reality, so I guess she was like not well enough to do the movie. So they killed the character off before they even started filming. And one of the most interesting things about this film is that Macaulay Montalban filmed his scenes a whole lot earlier before Kirk and everyone else did the rest of the film. Because of his shooting schedule for Fantasy Island, he had time, so they did his stuff a lot earlier. So the only thing they had actually see an actual scene with Kirk and Khan was through the viewfinder on the Enterprise. So you didn't really see them having an actual fist fight like you had in the television in the episode. But like I said, the movie was, a very, very good film. And like I said, the best film in the series. And what I remember about Star Trek 2 more than anything else was the hype that went into this movie. And I think because I was 8 years old when the first film came out. And I was almost 11 years old. I was about to turn 11 a month later when Star Trek 2 came out. So I remember more of the hype for Star Trek 2 because it was based on the episode. And what I remember more than anything else was that the night before Star Trek 2 came out, it came out on a Thursday, and since I'm in New York City, we had, I don't know if we still have it today, but we used to have Brooklyn Queens Day. It was traditionally in the New York City public schools in Brooklyn and Queens were closed for this day, and it was the last day off we had of school before school lets out for the summer. And that's what Star Trek 2 came out on. It was on Brooklyn Queens Day. And I figured, okay, great, I could see the movie on the day off. It would be great. Spend the day off going to the movie. Well, that's when my father graduated from college, earning his associate's degree in college. So I had to wait till the weekend to see the movie. Whatever. Excuse me. I'm still getting over a cold. So when they had the night, like I said, the night before the movie came out, Channel 11, which aired all the episodes of Star Trek at that time, plus eventually the two spin-offs, Star Trek Next Generation and Star Trek Deep Space Nine, also aired on Channel 11, eventually. But like I said, the night before the movie came out, Channel 11 aired a 1 hour special hosted by Leonard Nimoy about his memories of being on Star Trek, how he got cast, how he got the part, and his favorite episodes or favorite scenes they worked on the original series. And then after that, at 9 o'clock, they showed basically the episode which the movie was based on. So which we thought was a great idea so people could get it, at least in New York. I don't know if it happened anywhere else in the country, that they showed the special they just talked about plus the episode after it, so people can get an idea, or at least have refresh their memories about this episode, and so you get an idea. So which I thought was a great idea. The Channel 11 did that. And that's what happened. And then of course, Joe Siegel, son of a bitch, movie reviewer from Good Morning America, and he also did movie reviews here in New York City on local ABC, local news on the ABC affiliate here in New York City, reviewed Star Trek 2. Of course, he liked the movie, but then he ruined the ending, gave away the ending, which any movie reviewer that's even with anything should not ruin the ending of movies. That's what Joe Siegel did, and I hated him ever since. And every time I had a review one, I'd change the channel, and I pretty much stopped watching Channel 7 News because I didn't want to see him ruining another movie. And that's what he did. He ruined Star Trek 2 for me. Even though I still like Star Trek, it's still, like I said, the best one of the series. And I still have the souvenir program of Star Trek 1, 2, and 3. Unfortunately, never saw another souvenir program after the third one. But like I say, I still like Star Trek 2 and Wrath of Khan. I highly recommend it. I recommend you watch this episode first, before you see Star Trek 2. That's if those of you who've never seen it. See the episode first, then watch the movie. Because this is really the best one. One of the best episodes in the entire series. And the first episode they actually bought on video. I only bought 2 Star Trek videos of an episode. This one and Plain Old Stepchildren, which had the first interracial kiss on television. Well, game of tangent, and that's my review for Star Trek 2: The Wrath of Khan. Please like the video, comment on, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching. Catch you next time.